What if your life became more powerful, not by adding more, but by doing less? What if simplicity wasn't a sign of weakness, but the greatest strength you could ever master? And what if the secret to living fully wasn't in constant motion, but in mindful intention? We live in an age of abundance, more choices, more noise, more opportunities than ever before. And yet somehow we feel emptier. We move fast but go nowhere, achieve more but feel less satisfied. Our calendars are full, but our hearts are scattered. In chasing everything, we lose connection to what truly matters. That's why simplicity isn't about deprivation, it's about amplification. When you simplify your life, you amplify your purpose, your peace, and your power. You stop living by default and start living by design. You start living with intention. Living with intention means waking up each day knowing why you're doing what you're doing. It's the difference between reacting to life and creating it. For most of us, life feels like a constant response to messages, to expectations, to responsibilities that never end. We wake up and immediately check our phones. We jump from one task to another, measuring our worth by how much we get done. But intentional living invites a pause. It asks you to slow down and ask, does this serve me? Does this align with who I want to become? That question alone can change everything. Because when you live with intention, you no longer chase everything. You choose what matters. Simplicity starts with clarity. You can't live intentionally if you don't know what's important to you. So many people fill their lives with things that don't reflect their values, careers that drain them, possessions that clutter them, relationships that confuse them. They say yes to everything because they fear missing out, but end up missing the life that's right in front of them. The first step to simplifying is asking, what truly adds meaning to my life? What makes me feel alive? Once you identify that, you begin removing the rest, not out of rejection, but out of respect for your focus. Simplicity is clarity in action. Imagine your life as a canvas. Every commitment, every possession, every habit is a brushstroke. Most people keep painting until the canvas is crowded with color. Beautiful, maybe, but chaotic. Intention is when you start erasing what doesn't belong, leaving space for what does. The white space, the quiet, becomes as powerful as the color. The fewer strokes you make, the more each one means. That's the art of simplicity. That's how you amplify what matters. Living with intention also transforms how you spend time. Time is the one thing you can never get back, yet we treat it like it's infinite. We spend hours scrolling, worrying, saying yes to things that drain us, while the moments that fill us slip by unnoticed. Simplifying your time means treating it as sacred. It means scheduling rest without guilt, setting boundaries without apology, and focusing your energy on what truly aligns with your purpose. Every yes becomes a conscious choice, not a reflex. When you simplify your schedule, you amplify your presence, and presence is where life actually happens. Simplicity doesn't mean your life becomes small. In fact, it makes it deeper. When you stop scattering your attention, you give more energy to the things that count. Relationships deepen, work becomes meaningful. Joy stops feeling like a rare visitor and starts feeling like home. When your days are intentional, even ordinary moments, drinking coffee, reading, taking a walk, start to glow with meaning. You realize that fulfillment isn't found in more, it's found in enough. But intention isn't just about saying yes, it's also about saying no. And that's where the challenge lies. We live in a culture that glorifies busyness. Saying no feels selfish, lazy, even rebellious. But saying no is one of the most powerful forms of self-respect. It's how you protect your peace. Every no to what doesn't matter is a yes to what does. When you learn to set boundaries with your time, energy, and attention, you stop being a passenger in your life and start being the driver. You realize you don't have to do it all. You just have to do what's right for you. Living simply doesn't mean giving up ambition. It means giving your ambition direction. Many people confuse busyness with progress. They think working harder means moving forward. But without clarity, effort becomes exhaustion. Simplifying your goals allows you to amplify your impact. When you stop chasing every opportunity, you can pour your best energy into the few that align with your purpose. The result? You achieve more, not because you're doing more, but because you're focused. That's the paradox of minimalism in action. Subtraction creates expansion. The same principle applies to our possessions. Every item we own takes a bit of our attention. The more we own, the more we manage. But when we simplify our surroundings, we create mental space for creativity and calm. A tidy home becomes a reflection of a tidy mind. You don't need a mansion full of things to feel rich. You need a space that supports your peace. When you walk into a room that's free from clutter, your mind naturally relaxes. You start to think more clearly. You start to feel more grounded. The fewer things you own, the more you notice the beauty of what remains. Simplicity also amplifies gratitude. When life isn't crowded with excess, you begin to see how much you already have. You appreciate the warmth of sunlight, the taste of your morning coffee, the laughter of someone you love. Gratitude thrives in simplicity because there's space to notice. When your days aren't consumed by noise and distraction, you become present enough to experience joy. Gratitude doesn't come from abundance, it comes from awareness. The minimalist mindset is, in essence, a grateful one. It teaches you to find happiness in what's already here. There's also a spiritual dimension to intentional living. When you simplify your life, you make room for reflection. You start hearing your own thoughts again. You begin to sense a deeper connection with yourself, with others, with life itself. Noise is the enemy of clarity, and clutter is the enemy of peace. When you strip away what's unnecessary, you reconnect with what's sacred. Simplicity becomes a form of meditation, not sitting in silence, but living in alignment. It's the moment you realize you don't have to search for meaning, you only have to create space for it to appear. Intentional living also redefines success. Society tells us that success is about accumulation, more money, more recognition, more achievement. But success without peace isn't success, it's survival. Intentional living measures success differently, by alignment, by purpose, by peace of mind. It's not about how much you've done, but about whether what you've done feels right. It's not about reaching the top, but about knowing why you're climbing in the first place. When your actions match your values, you no longer need validation. You feel fulfilled because your life finally feels like your own. Simplifying your life doesn't mean it becomes easy. In fact, it can be uncomfortable at first. It means saying goodbye to old habits, letting go of false expectations, and facing the silence you've been avoiding. But in that silence, something beautiful happens. Clarity emerges. You begin to understand what you truly want, not what the world told you to want. You start making choices that align with your truth. You stop chasing approval and start pursuing authenticity. And once you taste that freedom, you'll never want to go back to chaos. Living with intention also transforms how you handle time and relationships. You stop filling your calendar with obligations and start filling it with meaning. You surround yourself with people who uplift you, not drain you. You choose quality over quantity, in friendships, in conversations, in everything. Life feels lighter but richer. You no longer rush from one moment to the next because you realize that this moment is enough. That's the gift of simplicity. It brings you back to now. There's a reason simplicity feels like coming home, because it's our natural state. Beneath the noise, beneath the clutter, we all crave peace. We all crave focus. We all crave purpose. The modern world tries to convince us otherwise, but the truth remains. The simpler your life, the clearer your path. And the clearer your path, the deeper your happiness. So start small. Simplify one area of your life today. Your desk, your schedule, your thoughts. Ask yourself, what feels heavy? What no longer serves me? What can I release to make room for what truly matters? The process doesn't happen overnight, but every step toward simplicity is a step toward clarity. The more you let go, the more your life begins to align, and the more your inner peace begins to rise. In the end, simplify to amplify isn't just a catchy phrase. It's a truth that echoes across every area of life. When you clear the clutter, physical, mental, emotional, what remains is power, purpose, peace. The noise fades and you can finally hear your own voice again. And that voice will guide you, calmly, clearly, intentionally, toward a life that feels right, not just looks right. Because living with intention isn't about perfection, it's about awareness. It's about choosing consciously, loving deeply, and moving through life with grace instead of haste. When you live simply, you live fully. You stop existing and start experiencing. You stop surviving and start thriving. Thank you for watching this video on Think Fresh Daily. If this message inspired you to simplify your life and live with more intention, please like this video, share it with someone who needs a moment of clarity, and subscribe to Think Fresh Daily for more insights on living purposefully, peacefully, and powerfully.